Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. By way of introduction, my name is Chris Jones. I work at Heathrow Express as the Strategy of Business Delivery Lead. I'm going to be moderating two of the discussions this morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming along yesterday. We had two really fascinating discussions. We had a roundtable panel discussion on intermodal travel, and then a second session where we looked both at the CDG Express and the Grand Paris Express projects. I'd also like to extend a massive thank you to Groupe ADP for yesterday evening's reception. We went out on a riverboat, had some drinks, had some food. It was a really good evening. I suspect there may be some sore heads in the audience, but a lot of fluff was had by Roddy, so honestly, thank you for that. The way this session will be structured, there are two presentations, and then we will move on to questions, both from myself and from the audience. So we get thinking, we get writing down some potential questions for our presenters. First, I would like to introduce Salima Meziant Khadir from Groupe ADP and Erik Derogee, who is a Senior Solutions Lead at Schiphol Airport, and they're going to be talking through TravelWise research and development projects.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I want to start with a repetition what you just said. I want to thank the organization very much for the beautiful evening we had in Paris last night. The wonderful experience, so thank you very much for that. As you can see on the screen now, we are going to present to you TravelWise project. As introduced, my name is Erik Derogee, Schiphol Airport, and together with Salima, we are going to present this TravelWise project. The first part will be mine, and in a couple of slides I will explain a little bit on the, let's say, the overall view of TravelWise, and Salima will go into the details of the use cases and more into the contents to explain a little bit more what we are doing. If we go to the first slide on the general info, you can see, I need my glasses for this. A little bit too small. You can see on the screen, it's a project with the cooperation of Europe's Rail and Cesar jointly together to promote the development of an integrated air and rail network backbone for sustainable and energy efficient multimodal transport system. Well, this is the goal, this is the request of the, let's say, the European Commission to bring this forward. And I understand everybody knows Europe's Rail joint undertaking, but I'm sure that not everybody knows what Cesar joint undertaking means. Cesar joint undertaking is the air part, and Cesar stands for Single European Sky Air Traffic Management. So it's all about research. I have to say the R is for research. But it's all about air traffic management in Cesar. Now, those two joint undertakings, they are starting with working together for the first time ever. And with this new TravelWise project, they want to bring air and rail more together. The acronym, as you can see, is TravelWise, and the full title of this project is Transformation of Aviation and Railway Solutions Towards Integration of Synergies and Synergies. So this is the full title and brought back to the acronym TravelWise. The project duration is 36 months, and we started a year ago, so the 1st of October 24, and the end date will be the end of September 27. And the grant agreement we signed is based on an innovation action. And this means it's all innovation. We are trying to develop the new solutions, but it will not be brought into industrialization yet. That will be the next phase. And what's also important to know, it's not about infrastructure. It's all about data sharing and process development. So no infrastructure, what we have seen yesterday here at Charles de Gaulle Airport, where all the construction work is going on. This is all about, let's say, the software. Our consortium consists of, and that's quite big, 38 partners, 32 beneficiaries and 5 affiliated partners and an associated partner. And those partners are coming from 11 countries in Europe, as you could see on the map, well spread over Europe, but as you could see, mostly from the western side of Europe. Behind all the partners working together, there's also an advisory board, and some partners which are not mentioned here are also in the advisory board. I can say a company like ACI, the Council of Airports, is in an advisory board, for instance. So there is a backup by the partners which are not in the project directly, but could advise and give, let's say, review. They review the documents we are writing. Our objectives, there are 7 of it, and the first one is analyzing and benchmarking the existing concepts of today and technologies supporting the integration of air and rail transport modes. Today there is already some parts are available, and both on air and both on rail they are unknown. So we are benchmarking which could be combined and could be reused to bring TravelWise a little bit further. The second objective is the development of an air rail intermodal concept of operations and a high-level architecture of TravelWise solution. So there will be a new concept, how to work together, and we are going to share data. The architecture will be built as well to share the data and to have the correct data at the correct places. The third objective is fostering the evolution of and adoption of the common European mobility data space. All this data should be brought together, and later on in the next presentation of EONA-X there will be an explanation how this could work. The fourth objective is creation of a single air-rail intermodal collaborative decision-making process, a solution, and interconnected operations plan. So the collaborative decision-making processes we already know in the air part, where we, with our stakeholders, talk together how to manage the day of operations. This is the idea to connect also the rail part in the air part, and maybe the other way around. So to have a single solution in cases of, for instance, disruptions. Then the fifth objective, maybe the most important one, is the passenger experience improvement. It's of course all about passengers, bringing from one location to another location, and in this case via a flight and a rail connection. The sixth objective is to, if we have a concept available, we have to validate this concept. Does it work? So we are going to do some validation exercises and an impact assessment, but also, which is not mentioned here, a CBA, a cost-benefit analysis, to see what we think will be good is also affordable for the industry. So this is the objective 6, and the last one, the number 7, is everything we have done after, let's say, 3 years. We have to outreach that and uptake of we have to bring this to the audience and to the different companies. Our targets are actually the ones mentioned here on the screen. We target on airport and railway infrastructure managers, so that are the ones operating the tracks for the railway part, and let's say the infrastructure managers of the air as well, but also other transport modes, the service providers like public transport, travel agencies, tour operators, tourism, ferries, cruises, all this kind of other modes will be targeted as well. Other air service providers like ground handlers in airports, They're of course very important, sometimes not directly involved, but very important to be available in case of things are going wrong. Very important are the policymakers, of course, like the European Commission, who is actually the one behind the whole Travelwise project. By DG Move, that's the director of the general of Move. They are actually the one telling us that the partner telling us that what we have to do. And because the European Commission is behind it, it's also funded by the European Commission, this project. But regulators like ICAO from the aviation side, UIC from the rail side, and Eurocai from the air side are all partners which should be involved in this project. Then we have the ANSPs. The ANSPs are the air navigation service providers, what we in normal words call ATC controllers. We need the technical providers, companies that deliver technology solutions. The rail operators, of course, the airspace users, so the airlines, but also the drone operators. The aviation and rail industry, the partners who should build later on all the systems. And last but not least, the citizens and the passengers. These are the most important, I think, again, that the passengers experience a better performance of the both ways of traveling. We divided our project into 3 scenarios. The first one is the city pair, intermodal cross-border data sharing in a nominal and non-nominal situations. So in case of disruptions, we also should share information and know from each other what's going on. The partners in this scenario are Aéroport de Paris, Amadeus, Eurostar, KLM, ProRail, Schiphol Airport, SNCF and SNCF Voyageur. This city pair is built along the line Amsterdam-Paris, and that's the reason why we are here. Amsterdam is connected with Paris via the Eurostar train. In the middle of the line Amsterdam-Paris, of course, there's Brussels, and SNCF is also connecting Brussels with Paris, but not Amsterdam with Brussels, so that's only Eurostar. But along this line on the ground, we have a rail connection, and in the air we have, of course, the 2 airports, Charles de Gaulle, also already with 1 flight a day, and KLM Air France combination, which is covering the flights between Charles de Gaulle and Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. For your information, what we have seen yesterday here at Charles de Gaulle, that's a little bit, we are in Amsterdam, a completely different airport, but in size you can say they're a little bit equal in number of passengers. And what we have seen yesterday is there is a railway station underneath the airport surface, and that's the same in Amsterdam. So the 2 cities are comparable in let's say the airports are comparable in size, the cities of course not, but the train connection is there, and that's what we are going to trial in this scenario 1. Then we have the next scenario. That's an international hub scenario, a large seasonal airport hub, combining air, rail and maritime. The partners are Aegean Airlines, Athens International Airport, Hellenic Train, Port of Piraeus and CITA. And this scenario is based on the large airport of Athens, connected to the port of Piraeus by train, and passengers going on a ferry from Piraeus or on a cruise ship from Piraeus will be connected by this train operations. And this scenario will be also looking into the sharing of data between the different parties for a better passenger experience. And the last but not least is a regional airport scenario. A regional airport is a future integrator hub. Partners are here: Bologna Airport, Ferrovie dello Stato, FS Technology, Hitachi, Marconi Express, Spar City, Thales Italia, TPER, and UPC. And this scenario is based on a airport connected with a train station in Bologna by a Marconi Express. Let's say you can compare it with the CDG Val here it's like a monorail. They connect the airport with the train station, and from the train station, the lines into Italy will take place, and there will be a new connection where also single ticket will be used, same as the one in scenario 1, where we're also going to use a single ticket ID, but Salima will explain that later on. If I go to the last slide of the general overview, you can see the scenarios combined. And on the very left-hand side, you see 2 airlines, KLM and Aegean. KLM is part of the TravelWise project, not Air France in this case, but of course Air France is also flying from Amsterdam to Bologna and to Paris, and from Paris to Bologna and Amsterdam. Same for Aegean. So on the flight side, the 3 scenarios are connected. KLM connects in scenario 1 Amsterdam and Paris. In between on the ground, you see that there is Eurostar and SNCF. They're working on the rail connection, and ProRail is the infrastructure manager on the scenario 1. In the middle, you see what I just explained, the Marconi Express between the airport and the railway station, and Trenitalia as a service provider for the train operations into Italy. And on the last scenario, you see Athens Airport in the Hellenic train combination, where they bring the passengers from the airport to the port of Piraeus and back again. So this is in a couple of slides an overview of what TravelWise means, and I now hand over to Salima to go into the details of the use case. Thank you.
Thank you. Intermodality, air and rail at Paris CDG and Amsterdam Schiphol. So first, in Roissy, in Paris Charles de Gaulle and Amsterdam Schiphol, there are 2 major intermodal hubs in Europe. Sorry. Thank you. Both airports are directly connected to high-speed train network, and they are also linked each other by a TGV, high-speed train, which make them a key location for combined air and rail travel. In 2024, around 3 million passengers traveled to the TGV station at CDG Airport. According to SNCF, about 10% of them use a single ticket, a combined ticket with a train and air combined, sold directly by airlines. Just for information, in Roissy Charles de Gaulle, we have about 10 or 12 airlines who are propose to their customer this solution. Even if it's still a small number today, this share is expected to grow in the coming years as the train-rail connection continue to develop. For airline, it's also the way to keep their passenger and offer greener travel option. This connection between air and rail is really opportunity to build a smoother and more sustainable mobility between major city and international hubs. in Paris-Charles de Gaulle, we are linked with many bigger cities like Bordeaux, Marseille, Lyon, or international cities like Amsterdam and Brussels. And for Amsterdam, they are linked directly with many cities in Netherlands, but also London and Brussels. We worked closely with our partners that you saw in scenario 1. So it's mean SNCF, Eurostar, Amadeus, Schiphol Airport, of course, and KLM. And we decided to focus only on passenger using a single ticket because this product is the best way to test and improve the coordination between air and rail partners. Through several workshops we discussed, we identified the main challenge faced by both passenger and partners. And from this work, we start to build several use cases based on 3 key areas that show where improvement are most needed. The first theme is assistance for passengers with reduced mobility to ensure continuous support and better anticipation of their needs. The second one is passenger flow and transfer manager to take the transition. Between train and air smoother and easier. And the third one is disruption management to improve coordination when something unexpected happens. Each of these themes led several use cases. In each use cases, we identified who is involved, what kind of data can be changed, and how the exchange could improve coordination between partners. We also looked at how the new data could help each partner improve their operation and how internal tools could be developed to take the information visible and useful for decision making. These use cases form the foundation for the future developments and a clear data-driven view of air and air connection. For the focus area number 1, for passengers with reduced mobility, our goal is to make sure assistance is continuous and well coordinated from the train station to the aircraft and back. Today, information about PRM assistance is not shared. It's not shared automatically, and it's still exchanged manually between partners. There have already been a good improvement to assistance process during the Olympic Games, where many actions helped improve the PRM journey. But it's not enough. We need to continue. Now we need to go further and work on the data exchange to connect systems and give everyone the same real-time view of the passenger journey. We can say that with better data sharing, coordination become faster and smoother. Airlines, train operator, and airports can all share the same view of the assistance to provide. For airline, it's very important. It's mean a better preparation and anticipation for passenger. It's mean less stress and more human and seamless experience. The second focus area is about managing passenger flow between a train and air. The goal is simple: make the transfer easier and more predictable. Passengers should move smoothly from the train station to the terminal, and all partners should have the same understanding of what is happening. Today, there is no shared or no connected system between train and air. Passengers with a single ticket are not visible in the airport system. In CDG and Schiphol, I think it's the same. Airline receives some information, but it's not automatic or not in real time. And for airports, we don't have any visibility at all. With this data, with a better data sharing, each partner could plan passenger flow in advance and make the connection process faster and smoother, we hope. And for airline, it would mean better coordination and useful information to help with decision. For example, to keep a little bit longer a check-in area, maybe one counter, or maybe to have to develop a special process for train passenger with a special line or special identification to help them. And for passengers, the goal is to make the train-air connection as easy as a flight-to-flight one. When they arrive by train or by plane, they should quickly know where to go. The single ticket gives a passenger confidence that their whole journey is managed from the start to finish. This product also promotes a greener and more sustainable way of traveling. The third focus is a disruption management. This topic is very broad, and even we have stronger ambitions. We must stay realistic. What we are doing now, it's only the first step towards a future joint decision system between air and rail. For now, we focus only a few specific disruption cases, like rerouting or coordination action, to see how partners can react together with something when something goes wrong or something happened on the journey of passengers. The main goal is to improve coordination so that passengers can still reach their destination smoothly, even in case of the delay or cancellation. Today, information is not shared in real time, which makes teamwork difficult. With a real-time data sharing, all partners could react faster and make better joint decisions. Airline will have an early visibility of train delay and the ability to inform passengers more quickly. For passengers, it means clear and fast communication, less stress, and the feeling of being supported even during disruption. Let's talk about the exercise validation in TravelWise project. Two exercises are planned, one before May 2026 and the last one before March 2027. Our work will focus on scenario 1 only, which is for passenger using single tickets. It means a combined ticket, like you understand, with train and air product that require a strong coordination between airlines, airport, and train operator. The first exercise will be for PRM assistance. This test to test how a better data exchange can improve service community and help passenger to feel a smoother journey and a seamless journey. The second exercise will focus on passenger flow and disruption management to see how coordination and shared data can take the connection smoother during unexpected events. To conclude, the TravelWise project will hopefully show the real benefits of the data sharing for all the stakeholders. By sharing reliable and real-time data, stakeholders can improve coordination, anticipate disruption, and make the passenger journey smoother and more sustainable. I think, in my opinion, TravelWise is a good opportunity to improve how collaboration and data exchange can bring a value to everyone involved in intermodal travel.
Thank you, Faye.
Imagine a seamless multimodal travel with smart coordination, predictive disruption management, and smoother travel experience. This is TravelWise, an innovation project enhancing multimodal travel by improving coordination across air, rail, and waterborne transport. TravelWise improves air and rail coordination through research and real-world testing. Studying ways to easily share transport data, helping air and rail operators collaborate more effectively and better running. Passengers enjoy their journeys more. A disruption occurs on a train which impacts the passengers. With accurate information, TravelWise could alert relevant operators and improve their collaboration.
Brilliant, thank you both. The thing I took away from that most that I'm really looking forward to is the development of that combined integrated ticket. That is a dream of mine and my passengers at Heathrow. And the way we're going to get there is from the third objective, which was fostering the evolution and adoption of a common, it says here European, unfortunately I can't say that anymore, but mobility data space. And to that end, I would like to introduce Charles Telitsine, who is the CEO of EONA-X, and Melanie Veissier, who is the Director of Transportation, Mobility and Logistics Projects.
Hello. So yes, nice to meet you. So TravelWise asked for data exchange solution. Here we are. So EONA-X, it's a non-profit association which aims to facilitate data exchange between different stakeholders in the transport, logistics, and tourism sectors. So we are what we call a data space. And we were launched a few years ago by 7 major stakeholders in the travel industry in Europe. So I will try not to forget anyone, but Aéroport de Paris Group, Air France KLM, Renault Group, Groupe SNCF, Groupe Accor, Marseille Airport, and Amadeus Group. So we are also currently supported by the French government to France 2030 call since 2 years now. And we are working at the European scale. So yes, what we do, actually, the starting point was to say that the data worldwide market represents more than 700 billion euros. And in Europe, approximately 80% of the data are still held by companies, public entities, etc. And they are not, they are still unused. So the European Commission, to their data strategy, said that from one part, they really need to work on open data, but more for information, public information and non-sensitive data. But on the other hand, they wanted to create some new object which really facilitated the data exchange, but in a more trusted framework. And so that's what we are doing in EONA-X. We are trying to connect, facilitate the connection and the coordination between public and private stakeholders, but to really make data exchange simpler, more secure, interoperable, and really value-driven. And currently, I forgot to say it, but we have now more than 30 members, and there is really different types of companies that can be SMEs, but also public entities, and different size of them. So yes, we are really trying to enable a controlled access to sensitive and commercial data for specific use case. Actually, they can be use cases to create value, to create new products, and as Salima and Erik talked about, to have a more intermodal journey for our customers, for our passengers, but also just to comply to public policies and to comply to contracts as we may need to. And so since we are a part of the European data strategy, sovereignty is really a part of our DNA, and it's really important for us. So we are really trying to enable the use and the openness to data through trust frameworks, and we are really working on all the chain value of the data, from the standards to the quality of the data, to their interoperability, and really to enable transparency, traceability, and governance of the data. So our aim is not to replicate what big tech are doing, because I'm not sure we'll be good enough, but really to offer an interoperable and open ecosystem to all our members and participants of our ecosystem, to really participate and create innovation, stimulation on data and AI, but Charles will talk about this later, and to make sure that innovation can benefit to everyone equally. And we will maybe come back to the technical parts after.
Yeah, as Melanie said, the problem is not technical. Most of the problem is not technical. Today we have the technology to make data exchange, a really decentralized data exchange, with the possibility to keep your very critical data and to be sure that you exchange exactly what you need, when you need, and stop if it's not necessary. Melanie explained very quickly that we offer the possibility to small innovative companies like INS and System, also, etc., to work with very big groups. And most of the partners can open their system directly to the production system. That's something very interesting. We call that data mesh, of course. It's American technology, but it's open source. And when it's open source, you can develop the European part of that without being vendor locked. And that's a very important part. So it's not only to have the best technology, to have the possibility to develop a lot of interactions in a total secure, trusted framework, but also the possibility to be sure that it will be something that you will profit, that will benefit to your company, not to others that will use your data. And you know that 80% of the data, critical data, is in the private companies, and they are reluctant today to share. Thanks to this initiative like TravelWise, but a lot of others, we implement actually 6 projects in Europe, different projects like that. TravelWise is only one of them for us. We make all Europe benefit of this technology. And this is really a European strategy. And thanks to the Commission, thanks to César Joint Unit for their support in that matter. So in this slide, very quickly, everything is about exchanging and keeping the property of our data. You are not obliged to bring all the total data you have on one project to your partner. You can use only the data necessary for one passenger at any moment. And for the Olympic Games, for example, maybe in next slide. Yes? But maybe just a few words to show that people included in EONA-X already come from many companies. Here in that room, we have people from Betty. I told you about the instant system. I told you about all the way for luggage, etc. All these companies work together with very big groups because they work with Accor, for example, with SNCF, Renault, Air France, Groupe ADP, of course, but also Amadeus. We have 5 of our partners included in the work of TravelWise. And you can be sure that all these people are, and the next one, because we could speak about taxis, or we could speak, for example, about the Olympic Games. Deloitte, for example, is included in the preparation of Milan. There was Massimo a few minutes ago. We were talking about the Winter Olympic Games in Milan Cortina. Okay, it's in a few months. And in Paris, we had the chance to use this system, this peer-to-peer system, to exchange data between 10 different companies. But also with the Ministry of the State Department and the Ministry of the Interior, who was in charge of security. And that's very important if you have many operational goals, to be sure that the data will flow directly to the people that need the data at the right moment, but also that it's possible in case of crisis to have the police, army, etc. have the right information at the same moment. So 6 times per minute, the delegations were followed by the system, and it was possible to give the information to police if necessary. Maybe you want to speak a bit?
Yes, so maybe we will not come back to TravelWise as Salima and Erik explained it very well, but actually we are the main motor of the scenario one, I hope so. And we are currently working on how to implementing the land exchange for the TravelWise scenario. But we also have different other projects. As Jean said, we currently are working on 7 projects at the European scale, and we have one with the Essence system, which the main goal is how to integrate private data thanks to the data space in public mass app, a mass mobility as a service application, like Gear France Mobilité. Je suis bonne à l'être, if you are in Paris. But yes, to do that, but also to create a virtuous circle to create more data for employers and employees, thanks to the opening of new mode of transport in this area. We are also working on autonomous vehicles with Betty, and in closed and open areas, maybe also to facilitate the journey for employees of an airport, for example. Yeah, so different projects are really are concrete for again trying to create more value, more new services, but also to achieve our net zero objectives, like for example for ADP, Orly in 2035, but also for CDG in 2050. So we are working on all the access, not only on the base, but we all every partner can work with each other to improve their value and create more collaboration. Here's maybe a quick information on how our technology is working.
Yeah. Yes, but maybe because time is running short, and maybe it will be the opportunity to talk together and to talk about your problem, and that's the way it should be done. Okay, believe me, it works. It worked during the Olympic Games, and up to 800 buses per day connected with planes, trains, and taxi, etc. Everything worked well. And that's okay. Maybe we could take time at any moment of this day. If you find it necessary, we will be available for you. Thank you very much.
I will start with Charles and Melanie, if I may. You mentioned that the technology exists already, so that isn't one of your challenges. But what challenges do you feel that you do have, and what could the people in this room help you overcome?
Trust. That's the question of trust. Even for people already members of the association, we have to convince other departments that it's worth exchange data because of competition. For example, it's sometimes hard for Air France KLM to exchange data with the railroad company, okay? And of course, people like Erik are convinced and do a lot of work to help in Schiphol. People from Groupe ADP help to do it, but for the people that are very new in competition, for example, like SNCF, sometimes it's difficult. The people working in the group are convinced, but other departments sometimes say, okay, we should be careful. We should take care about competition, and maybe there will be a problem. So it takes time, but it works. And at the beginning, it's hard to do. But after that, when the doors are open, because they know that the technology will allow them to close the doors whenever they want, it works.
It's not a unique problem. So I'm formerly an engineer in the UK, and open data is something I've been advocating for a very long time. It's right. It's the trust element. Quite a lot of companies don't have an on the commercial edge where they want to own their data. It's a commodity, but also they don't want to share anything that could help the competitors eat them. So I fully appreciate that. If I could also, if we do this as a bit of a conversation to Salima and Erik, in a similar theme, what are your main technical challenges in integrating the air traffic management data and the rail traffic management systems?
The difference between the two approaches is very, very, very high. So there's a lot of different kind of data which should be combined. And in aviation, we if you look at ground processes, we all work our way till what we call the TOBT, an end of handling time, which is an input for flights going into the air. And this is not something which is realized in the rail area. What we need to know actually to make a for instance, a transfer for a passenger from the train to a flight is having the information of, is this passenger on board of the train at first? And is this passenger able to make the connection at the airport with a minimum connection time? So it's in a way quite basic, because you need to know the passenger reference connecting to the flight, but you also need to know the time of arrival of this train at the station, and at the moment it's at the station, do you have enough time to reach the boarding time for the flight? So it's quite basic data we need, but that's at this moment lacking. We do not have this information available. And in the use case of the passenger with reduced mobility, there are more partners involved. If you are a passenger with a reduced mobility and you need assistance with a train company, for instance in Amsterdam, the train company is providing this assistance to the passenger, but then needs to be handed over to the airport to be transferred to the gate. And that means there are two different companies working together with one passenger, but not knowing exactly what's going on with the passenger and where it's coming from. And so there is no data. And this, of course, with EONA-X, it could be brought together. And then you should, of course, have interfaces to be able to read the data from one company to another company to provide this service to the client, to the passenger. I don't think the systems of the railway infrastructure and the systems of the air traffic management are comparable, but I also think it's not necessary to combine this. It's more about data sharing on very, very basic level. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an issue that I'm incredibly familiar with. So on Heathrow Express, as far as the passenger is concerned, they are on Heathrow Express. They don't mind. However, there is actually 5 companies working with those passengers in between them buying a ticket and arriving at the airport. And that's just physical staff. If we look at the companies, there's probably actually around 20 companies working with them. And it's about how do we share that data to make that seamless? Because when something goes wrong, it's us that gets in trouble. It's not necessarily always our fault. So it really is important that we're able to open it up and share that. And Charles, do you have any thoughts?
Of course, there's some 5 to 10 to 20 people included in the process. The process is quite theoretical with many people that have to collaborate. And most of the time, the data exists. Most of the time, the data exists. We had, for the Olympic Games, we had very few new data to add. All was in the different systems, but not connected. So the trust and the way we work together on process is the most important part. And often airports like yours, like Paris, like Milano, etc., will be, of course, Heathrow will be included in that works.
And while we've been talking about the technical and policy issues here, we keep touching back to the point that this is about passengers. So could each of you talk about how you're taking into account passenger feedback in the design and development and testing of your product?
We had very good feedbacks from the delegates, very, very good, because as you know, the Olympic Games in Paris were quite a success. Of course, it was young people, but also 30,000 journalists, people from TV, newspapers, and of course, that's not the same thing with them. Young people, athletes, even for the Paralympics, were very calm. But of course, for people that need to speak about the event, they want to see what works and what does not work. And there was really a very good exercise at the right scale and the very scale to test. But now the idea is to test it with all passengers. And that's a quite different question. 60,000 people on a few days, sorry, a few weeks, okay? It's very concentrate goal, and of course, all the people in the organization are focused to success.
Yeah.
When it comes to regular service for years. And I would say with millions of passengers, we have to find the same way to work at that scale now.
Yeah, and for us, at this very moment, we do not have any feedback from passengers because we are not that far in the project. But of course, this also comes with complaints of today. Because if you miss a flight where you thought it would be all solved for you at the airport and there is something going wrong, then there will be a complaint, of course. But you also to take into account that the number of passengers we are talking about in this specific use cases is quite limited. It's more an example of how to integrate the processes and how to exchange data as an example and to spread it out later on the processes as well, because it's not only about passengers with reduced mobility, which are what I just said, just a couple a day, so that doesn't make sense to do everything for them. But as a starting point, it's a very good example to start with, and then go beyond with other passenger flows as well. So we do not have data, but we know what the expectations are, and if you are not involved in a project like this, you all can imagine what can go wrong in these situations, and how you think it would be covered in a new situation after 3 years of turbulence. Yeah.
I will ask one more and then I will open up to the floor. I appreciate you all both here because it is the project you're speaking about is between Paris and Amsterdam, but also it's Athens and Bologna were chosen. Is there a reason? Were they deliberately chosen for this project? Is there a particular reason?
Most of the time there are reasons behind it, and that's where partners, for instance in Bologna, or where partners in Athens do see benefits by combining data flows and knowing from each other what's going wrong today and how could we improve. So there is a need, and that's the same for, I think the best use case we explained this morning is on the passenger with reduced mobility. There is a need to better service those passengers, and that's the same for passengers in Bologna going to the railway station, where there is also a train ticket and flight ticket connected, but not knowing where the passenger is. And same for the Athens case. There is a lack of information, and we have to bring this information to the table. That's the goal.
I'm used to a lot of technical projects that are done just to prove a point, whereas here you've said there is a genuine use case for this, which is, I think, why it's been a success. Yes? Thank you. Had on mic.
Yeah.
1 sec.
Just one small question.
Hello, so I'm Soledad Valencia, the president of Hello Paris. Yesterday you had a presentation from City Express. My question was about the experience of Olympic Games, because I think it's a very interesting and real experience. I wanted to know for the EONA project, which of these many partners were the most involved in the success of the sharing of the information during this Olympic Game? Which partners were really interested in sharing for the Olympic Games declaration?
There was official sponsors like Groupe ADP, Accor, Air France KLM, and of course SNCF. So this was the first nucleus of people working together. But we had to add information from Île-de-France Mobility, of course, and we work also with Instant System about that. And that's something very important to notice, that at the beginning you have very few partners. It's like making Europe, you know. At the beginning there were 6, and today, as you know, we are not all. Sorry, Chris. But you will come back, I'm sure. And that's very important to notice that now, because we have had this success, G7, which is a taxi company, okay, but also all other partners in this matter on transport come to us and say we should use the same system. because interoperability is not so obvious. They are very, I say it again, 20% of the problems are technical, 80% are to work together, to learn to work together, and to find the right process to exchange data, etc. But this kind of association, non-profit association, is made for that, or make people gather. Governance is very important too. For 3 years, sometimes it was very slow, but we decided by unanimity. Very difficult to have a board deciding by unanimity. Sometimes it was a nightmare. I had to present the project 4 times to have the decision of everybody say, yes, it's important, we do this, and we finance it. Okay, but I think governance, data quality, these kind of things can only be made by all partners having the right information, coming to the table and saying, or we have to share this information. That's quite huge.
I think this question is for Selena. I'm very interested that you are using the word disruption, because that's more dangerous than the other words. If I buy one ticket and it says I own the ticket from Chicago to Charles de Gaulle to Marseille, and my airline is 5 hours late, who pays for my hotel?
I have the answer if she wants. I was the former airport director and had the problem a lot of times. Depends of your company. When you work on Air France KLM, or we fly on Air France KLM, they will tell you the hotel. And they will make the reservation for you to go to your destination. When it comes to some low-cost airlines, it's very different. They say, okay, we have no contract for you, sorry. Most of the passengers do their collection by self-collection. In fact, they do not have the ticket. And the responsibility of the company stops on the contract. So, of course, a lot of passengers are on the ground and nothing to do. And sometimes we open rooms with beds for them because all the hotels were completely full. So you have to, I really think the idea of Salima disruption was good. That's what happens. And sometimes it happens not because of airlines problems. It happens because of the weather. It happens about many things that can happen. A volcano, do you remember, etc.
Yeah, to add on that, I take the example of KLM because I know the best. KLM has let's say, 20 to 30 seats available in the Eurostar train from Amsterdam to Brussels. And if they sell a ticket to a passenger coming from Chicago to Amsterdam and after that the train to Brussels, they are completely involved in your journey. Meaning, if the flight is delayed, or the other way around, if you take the train first, the train is delayed, and you miss your connection, they are responsible, because that's the contract. And I'm quite sure that the other way here from Paris with Air France works the same. But at the time you do not have a single ticket and 2 loose ends, so to say, at that moment you're responsible yourself for the transfer. And that's the same situation if you have 2 different tickets with 2 different airline companies and you make your own transfer, then you're responsible to be on time for the next flight. So the responsibility is with the airline at the moment you have a single ticket. And also in case of disruptions, and then of course the normal rules apply, so the 3 hours and the compensation with food or the compensation with a hotel, this all apply at the moment you are transferring from flight to train as well, same as from flight to flight.
And Salima said it's only 10% of people coming by train
Yes.
to Paris airport.
Yes, that's right. Actually, only 10% of passengers who travel by train and flight bought a single ticket. So what can I say? That the rule is the same for train and plane. If you bought the package directly to an airline, like a flight to flight with an airline. And if you want to do your self-connection, if there is a disruption or a cancellation, you need to see for an hotel or for something else. It's exactly the same rule that you can use if you take 2 different flights without any package.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the interest of time, I'm going to call the session to a close, but our speakers will be around today, so please do ask them if you have any additional questions. I would just like to ask everyone here to extend their thanks to our speakers. So thank you.
Thank you.